What's up, guys? Welcome to my tarot channel, Tarot by the Intuitive Teacup. That's me. My name's Annie. Welcome to this All Signs Tarot reading. Please come into the readings with an open heart and an open mind. Take away only what resonates for you and release the rest. Check below for timestamps so you can hop directly to your reading. And do remember to check out the reading for your sun, moon, rising, and Venus signs. All right, let's do it. Hello, Aries, sun, moon, rising, and Venus signs. Let's see what's coming in for you. A message, an important message. All right, who is sending this message? Someone who's been thinking about their words quite carefully. Someone who's been plotting or planning how they want to come in and communicate with you. If it's a job, maybe they've really been, combing through your resume, doing your background check. It could be that. Or if it's someone who's, a friendship or interested in you romantically, they've kind of been checking you out for a while. Maybe they're looking at you. Either way, it could be a spy card, like someone's looking at your profile online, whether that's, again, career-related or just, Facebook stalking, right? What does this person want to say? What do they want to say? They like you. They want to flirt with you. They want to tell you that they think you're the bee's knees, the cat's pajamas. Let's see. Tell me more. Page of Cups. It could be an apology for one or two of you. Sometimes the Page of Cups is an apology. If it's not that, it's a newish expression of love. With the Page of Cups, it's probably not a perfect stranger. Obviously, they know who you are because it's like they've been holding back on communication. They've been thinking about it for a while, but yeah, there's going to be some sort of warm, soft, gentle offer to do something. Possibly from a fire sign. All right, so this what appears to be a small or innocent little offer packs a lot of heat, Aries. To me, it's saying there's actually a lot of passion and there's a lot of thought that has been put into this, but the way they come forward, they decide to minimize it, if that makes sense, because it's almost like they don't want to spook you or scare you off by coming on too strong, and so they almost feel like they have to edit themselves. They sort of feel like they have to pull back their energy because they don't want to come with King of Wands energy, which ironically I think you would kind of like, with that being your fire suit, But yeah, there's a lot more to this offer than I think you realize. I think this person holds you in very high regard and feels very deeply about you or has a lot of passion, but it kind of presents and just like, oh, hey, would you like to go out with me? But they're like, oh my God, I can't stop thinking about Aries, that kind of thing. Could be someone who has strong fire in their chart. I did see the Devil, so it could be someone who's a little bit, I want to say sort of obsessed, but I don't want to use that word lightly because I think obviously that can be kind of a slippery slope, but I think in general it's like this person kind of like dreams about what it would be like to be with you or have you on their team or, go out with you, that sort of thing. So what will your response to this be, Aries? Where are you at with this? The Hermit, you might not even see it coming. You may be still... You may be very focused on yourself. This can be a card of soul searching. This can be a card of kind of like solo independent energy. So I don't necessarily see you in a relationship currently, because here's the thing, this person has done their research. If you were with someone, they wouldn't be coming in. That being said, it could be that you've recently gone through a breakup or a split or a divorce and this person was like picking their moment. I could totally see that. In which case you might still be doing a little bit of healing in terms of, nursing your wounds after a difficult split or something like that. That being said, you might not realize, especially with your back turned to this, that you have someone coming in fairly quickly to make an offer and maybe help soothe those wounds. So by all means, focus on your healing. I don't think it's good to like leapfrog from one thing to another because ultimately, that those unhealed things will catch up with us and then both people will kind of have to fix that in their relationship, that's not fair. You don't want to do that to a future partner. So by all means, focus on your healing. Some of you may be focused on studying or doing something more educational. Maybe you're, getting a certificate in something or polishing up your knowledge or, something at work. Maybe you're taking an extra course or class, or maybe you're just doing something for fun, but it does involve, it's more cerebral. It's more of like a mental pursuit that requires a lot more of your focus. So in which case, you don't necessarily see this coming, but I really like the energy coming towards you. That looks great. Major Arcana, we do have some Virgo energy. That is coming through more on your end, so maybe you have some Virgo stuff in your chart. If not, though, it could absolutely involve a Virgo, possibly air signs, possibly fire signs. You know, I kind of got it all here, to be honest. I got earth, air, fire, and water. But yeah, maybe strong fire in this person's chart. Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. Well, enjoy that, Aries. That looks just delightful. Good for you guys. All right, Taurus, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. What's coming in for you guys in the next week or so? We have what I think is going to be a lucky Sagittarius full moon. So let's see what's going on with that. Hope you guys had a wonderful birthday season. Now we got to make room for those Geminis, those chatty Geminis. All right, so a decision. You seem to be at a crossroads, but I don't know. I almost feel like you're feeling more confident to move forward with a decision that maybe you've been... Either you had to put it on the back burner because it couldn't take up space as your priority or your focus, but now it's like the time has come where you know you just have to move forward with it or make some sort of decision because you don't want to stay in indecision land forever. What is this decision regarding? Walking away from something. Yes, so you may have spent some time contemplating, is it time to move on? Is there something bigger and better out there for me? With this, I would say yes, it is. You know, the moon in the Eight of Cups frequently speaks to the idea of our intuition is calling us. It's sort of this idea that just because we can't necessarily see it, we feel like there's something more to pursue here. And with that, you may have to release or let go of something. You may have to sacrifice something that you have committed yourself or devoted yourself to for a certain period of time. And I think sort of a key indication here is that it served its purpose for a while, but ultimately those cups are no longer satisfying or not fulfilling you in the way that they used to, because again, there's something more out there for you. That you're meant to do something more or different, or something about like your purpose, your destiny. So a lot of times it does have to do with trimming the fat and cutting ties of what you don't need. Not for all of you. It won't necessarily mean abandon ship entirely, but yeah, there's pieces of your life that essentially you've outgrown, and in order to make room for the new and good stuff coming in that you are pursuing, you're not just waiting for it to fall into your lap. There is maybe a bittersweet thing of needing to let something go. And I do say bittersweet because you seem to be very on the fence or apprehensive about letting something go. Maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's an old home or your first apartment, or, again, it could be a job or needing to move and being at a distance from your friends or your community, from your family. It's something like that. It doesn't mean you're like, I'm never talking to them again per se, but there is something about like, I just feel like I'm meant to go towards this thing. I'm feeling called to do it. So tell me a little bit more. What are we headed towards here? Yeah, you're listening to your heart space. You're pursuing something that it's been shouting at you. It's been speaking quite loudly, and it makes your heart feel all mushy and gooey inside. And I mean that in a good way. I know some of you are like, ugh, that sounds awful. But no, the Knight of Cups, it's like I'm pursuing something because it means so much to me. I couldn't imagine not doing this or living my life without this thing, pursuing this job that I love, or that I know I could thrive in this career, pursuing a person, or if I've been settling in a romantic relationship and not feeling like my needs are being met, or that I'm being respected, or that, I'm with someone who we're not super compatible. This is like, again, this really beautiful idea of like, I know there's more out there for me. So for a lot of you, it almost has a fool energy of needing to take a leap of faith that something else is going to fill your cup, and you're sort of taking the reins. You're sort of standing up to make that executive decision for yourself. And I really like that. It's very, it feels like you're recognizing your self-worth this week a lot. And maybe there were people on the fringes or the exterior of your life trying to talk you out of it, or playing devil's advocate and being like, well, if you leave this, then and it's sort of like not super helpful, right? Like people sort of offering unsolicited advice. And I do think for some of you, even though they think they had good intentions and they were protecting you, it was ultimately unsolicited advice, and it may have actually clouded your headspace in terms of having that firm decision of, okay, it's time to move forward with this. I think, for some reason there was like interference, but I think you started to realize that, and now you're like, okay, I'm ready to do this. A lot of you feel very determined. It feels very empowered. And it doesn't, for those of you who are worried about the repercussions with friends or family members or whoever, it doesn't feel selfish to me. It feels like you spent a lot of time contemplating what's going to be best for everybody, but ultimately it's your life and your life to live. So I do see you starting to move forward into that next chapter. And it feels nice. For a lot of you, it may have to do with ending something in your workplace, your daily schedule. Your life is about to change for the better. Yeah, because this is something you dream about. I think in the long term, again, Jupiter energy, it's going to bring you a lot of fortune. It's going to bring you a lot of ease. It's going to bring you a lot of comfort. It is requiring you to, again, take a leap of faith, though, and expand and pursue something outside your normal range or your normal territory. It does feel like something you almost have to move towards or go towards. It gets you out of your comfort zone is what I'm trying to say. But I think it's going to bring you a lot of peace of mind knowing that you did this. And do we need to know anything else about this? For some of you, it's going to help reset your body too. It may accidentally coincide with a new chapter where you're more focused on your health and wellness, especially your mental health. It's almost like, you know that expression, absence makes the heart grow fonder. It's almost like I don't know why that's coming through, because it's almost the inverse of that. It's almost like when you leave your old life behind, or whatever this is, wherever you cut ties or trim the fat, you're going to realize with some space and distance how much it was actually weighing you down. So there's this sense of like, oh my God, that became so normalized to me that I thought that that's how I had to live my everyday life, and that was just, those feelings that I had. It's almost like you assume that would be a constant, and that when it's no longer in your life, you're like, oh wow, like I actually have more energy, I have more time, I have more love to give, I have more. It's like you get the upgrade and you didn't realize how much this thing was weighing you down until you separate yourself from it. Maybe it's a relationship, maybe it's a job. Yeah, absolutely. This is a time of liberation. And I think too, there's something to be said here for someone kind of playing some, I don't know if mind games is the right word, because for some of you it wasn't necessarily malicious, but I do think you had a person who was very much trying to incite fear in you in order to keep you to themselves, in order to it's almost like they're wanting to wrap you in a big hug and not let you go. It could even be, family members, your parents or this or that. Like they want to keep you close because ultimately, they want you to be safe. They don't want you to be out in the big dangerous world, or sort of metaphorically something like that. Or if it's your lover or your partner, it's like they have trouble accepting the fact that you've sort of outgrown them and that you've moved on and that you're pursuing something that's it's like you're not giving up, you're not settling. It's like you're aiming for the next big thing. And for some of them, they were very comfortable staying in this kind of familiar narrative and storyline and maybe being a little bit complacent. But I do feel like you, again, there was some message here about understanding that people's projections on you of what you should do or supposed to do, who you're supposed to be, you're starting to realize where that was keeping you back and where you maybe fell victim to their sort of like the thoughts bleeding into your own and muddying the waters, where you sort of lost yourself for a minute. There was some sort of confusion of, oh, well, maybe I shouldn't be moving forward. Maybe they're right. Maybe it will be a big mistake. Maybe it is too much money. I don't know. Maybe there isn't someone else out there for me. And it's like, no. Like you're able to push that thought aside and be like, no. I got this. All right, Taurus, I love that for you. It feels very, very empowered, very confident, and coming from a place of I almost want to say like purity, but having sort of just this idea that the universe is going to help kind of usher in this new chapter. Like as long as you have faith and keep showing up for yourself, there's no reasons why like beautiful things aren't going to come in this next chapter. So I love it. It's like a re-releasing of you. All right, thanks, Taurus. Hey, Gemini, what's up? Gemini, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. What is coming in for you guys? We got a full moon happening in Sagittarius in a couple days. Although by the time I post this, it'll happen. I think it's May 23rd. So for Gemini risings anyway, that may have to do with long-term partnership. Let's see what's coming in for Gemini. Happy birthday, by the way, to all my Geminis celebrating. Happy birthday. Sending you guys all the best. What's coming in for Gemini in the next couple weeks? Queen of Wands, stepping into your power, feeling beautiful, feeling magnetic, feeling very appreciated, feeling attractive. It's like feeling sexy, putting yourself out there, maybe taking some sort of risk to communicate with someone, whether that's in a romantic, flirty way or whether that's like approaching some sort of job or applying to some business project contract that maybe on a different day you would have like talked yourself out of it or been a little bit shy, but this feels very like, you know what, I am good enough. I'm going to toss my hat in the ring and see what happens. I think you're going to get communication back. Let's see, Page of Swords. Moving forward with something that you've been doing a lot of thinking about, again, it feels very much like, you know what, I'm going to take a risk this time. I'm going to move forward with it. I'm going to see what happens. For a lot of you, it feels sort of like, they're like risk taking. And so I think you've had to do a lot of weighing out of possible scenarios or outcomes, trying to anticipate what would happen if you were to reach out to this person or say the thing. Maybe some of you are needing to step up and say something that is a little bit uncomfortable, but it's like it needs to be addressed. Speak your truth even if your voice shakes. That's sort of what's coming through a little bit, because there might be, I don't want to say damage being done, but a fallout or whatever this is. It may cause electricity and sparks, and maybe that's a good thing if it has to do with love and passion and romance. But others of you, if I don't know, in any sort of relationship, it may also have to do with like addressing the behavior that can no longer go on, knowing that it might ruffle some feathers, it might create a little bit of chaos or cause some sort of storm. But for you, it's almost like you're standing up for it as a matter of principle or ethics. It almost has that sort of like, again, there might be repercussions, not necessarily for you. I'm almost thinking it's like you sort of bringing karma to a situation or a person, especially if you're mad at them too. I can't quite get a pulse on this. So give me a little storyline. Like, what is Gemini stepping up to do here? Okay, so the sun is actually quite happy. So I'm wondering if this is electricity and sparks in terms of passion. You know, sometimes this can be symbolic of like the orgasm card, right? So it might be kind of like sexual tension that has been building up, potentially with a fire sign, Aries, Leo, Sagittarius. And maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's like, hey, I gotta put myself out there and say the thing and talk about my feelings, or talk about, you make me so happy, with the sun card, knowing that it may change that relationship moving forward, whether they embrace you or reject you. It's like, you got to say the thing for some of you. So we'll clarify the tower and see sort of what the reaction might be. But it's almost like once you put yourself out there, you stick your neck out and say the thing, there's no going back to how it used to be. Do you understand what I mean? That's sort of what's going on here for me. So the sun. So you are wanting to shed light on something, but you're wanting to provide it warmth. It's like the sun, it wants to nurture things in order to get them to grow and be the best that they can be, sort of. It almost has sort of like paternal energy a little bit. And it may, for one or two of you, it may have to do with confronting your kids about something or vice versa. I don't think that's the majority of you, but if you are applying to a job, it may have to do with something creative. These are all kind of fringe messages. I don't think that's the main thing coming through. I think for a lot of you, it's wanting to confess or confide feelings for someone. Yeah. Especially with like the singles card coming up. It's like wanting to establish loyalty in some sort of relationship that you have, but it's not necessarily exclusive. So it might be that you're wanting to shed light on the fact that like, hey, I'm single and like I don't want to be single anymore. Like it almost has that sort of vibe. I also think for a lot of you, again, you're coming from such an empowered place this week where it's like, again, you're more willing to take a risk and say something that you wouldn't ordinarily have the guts or the gusto to do. But it comes from a place of having like really lovely, like self-respect, knowing that you deserve good things and there's no reason to mute yourself and not speak up. And I mean, that's such like a Gemini thing, right? It's like you guys are most associated with kind of like communication, right? And sort of that back and forth. So tell me a little bit more. Virgo, Aries energy. This might have to do with a workplace scenario as well, too. The Emperor is frequently a card of career stuff for me as a reader anyway, boss stuff. I don't know if you're professing feelings for your boss. Maybe for one or two of you that's possible, but no, I think the Emperor for a lot of you, especially for those who are interested in men, and certainly that's not the case for all of you, it almost seems like a female this week might be, actually I shouldn't say that. Someone is stepping up this week, whether it's male or female, to address maybe someone, a masculine who they've had hidden feelings for. And I think you have trouble reading this person. there might be sort of this almost like hot and cold energy you get, like you might be feeling confused by it, and so that's sort of what it's like, the catalyst of like, I just need to say it, like I just need to know, I can't hold on to this anymore, because like it almost has this idea of like it's a nagging thought, it's driving me nuts. Again, some of you may address something at the workplace, at your career, at your job, where again it's coming from a more frustrated place, and it's not that you're like not giving notice, that you're just like, that's it, I quit, I'm leaving, for most of you anyway. Others of you, it's like you want it to be a happy, lovely workplace and have a good work fam and feel respected, but someone has crossed the line, and so you do have to sort of address them in order to shed light on this. And again, it's like there's no going back here. It's almost like if you tell your boss that they were out of line, it may put you in a position where it's like, well, gosh, I hope my job isn't on the line. But you know what? If they're like a stand-up guy, if they're a stand-up girl, if they're actually a professional, then I should be able to voice my concerns and not feel like my head is on the chopping block, right? That's sort of what I mean. It's like there's no going back. There's some sort of like holding back in order to get your ducks in a row and how you want to approach this, but then it's like you just kind of have to let the chips fall where they will, and I think you're going to. So again, like classic Gemini reading, right? I'm reading this through two different lenses. It doesn't seem to be one narrative or the other. For some of you, it's work related. Others of you, it's romantic. But so as much as we're allowed to know, tell me about sort of this tower moment of once Gemini, speaks their truth, says the thing, approaches this person or this situation. I think you're approaching it with goodness, though. I have to say, these cards feel very much like tactful, well thought out, ultimately shining light and having like a good, it's almost like having good note cards or having good bullet points for your argument. You have a lot of like supporting evidence. Do you know what I mean? And even if it's romantic, it's the idea of like, you've thought this through. You can kind of envision what life would be like dating this person or living with them or whatever. And so now it's like you're ready to have the conversation with that person and see how they react. Let's see. I do think this is whoever is receiving it, the Emperor. It almost feels like they're in a higher position than you. So again, maybe it's your boss, but if that's not the case, it's almost like you view them as more superior, or you may even think that they're a little bit out of your league. And I don't think that's necessarily true. I think that's your perception of it with the Page of Swords. But yeah, it's like the Queen of Wands and the Emperor. I get it. This is major arcana, but like, I mean, this could be a power couple. It's both fiery energy. So you guys are both very willful, very passionate, very curious, adventurers, explorers, live to have fun, that sort of thing. But also like kick-ass professionals too. So like, that's what I mean. I think you guys have a lot in common here. So sexual tension or arguing, I'm not sure. Let's see. So how is this Emperor, whoever this represents for Gemini, how is this person going to react with the Tower? Is there going to be an openness to accepting the truth and hearing them out? Is there going to be any sort of response to their admission or feelings, or what is the response? Is it a good tower or is it a scary tower? Let's see. So I think they are going to hear you out. I think they're going to have something to say as well. Typically, the Ace of Swords, though, represents small victories. It's the beginning of something new. So again, if you're going into this mentality with like, we need to fix this and make it better, and I just need you to know, like, again, you crossed a line, or we need to, whatever needs to be fixed, I do think that's going to be heard and appreciated, and implementing changes, rewriting documents, if you will, to make this better. I actually do like the Ace of Swords very much. Okay, perfect. And if it's romantic, it's saying, yes, they're going to text you back, and it will be warm. It will be affectionate. I think they will be open-minded and considerate to your feelings and your, again, admission that you're into them. And they'll be like, oh, yeah, like, I think you're cute, too. Like, let's make plans and go out on a date, right? Early stages, right? Don't expect miracles overnight. I don't think you're going to get someone who's like, oh, my God, I've been secretly in love with you forever, too. If that's where you're coming from. But I do think this person is kind of like, oh, well, thank you so much. Like, I'm flattered. I would love to go out with you. Like, that's sort of what this feels like. All right. Interesting, Gemini. This was like actually a very fun reading. I loved it. All right. Happy birthday, y'all. I'll see you next week for more tarot. All right, Cancer babes. What's up? Cancer, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. What's coming in for my Cancers? What's coming in for Cancer in the next couple weeks? Ooh, good things. All good things. All good things. Okay, an ending though. An ending that you're excited about. Typically the Ten of Swords is not something we get excited about, but you seem to be putting an end to something that you were very committed to, but you started to realize it wasn't necessarily good for your mental health. It may have been a situation where you thought you were going to be at something for a long time. Maybe it was a work scenario, or maybe you were going to be in a relationship for a long time. I will say with the Ten of Swords, there were warning signs along the way, like red flags that it might be time to make an exit or to plan an exit strategy. If that's the case, it may happen at a time where you didn't necessarily anticipate leaving, though I would argue that you thought about it. But it's almost like something new comes in where I'm almost wanting to say like it replaces the old. So there isn't necessarily, if you're like leaving a job or planning on that, something new comes in where you don't necessarily have to have that period of like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm going to do now, because I don't know, something comes in that brings an end to something else. I hope that's making sense for you. Yeah, and it's like really in alignment with your long-term goals, your dreams, your wishes. There might be something kind of unique or different about this opportunity. It may have to do with an Aquarius. If this does have to do with a romantic relationship, there's something very unusual about the timeline of this Cancer. And I don't necessarily recommend this, but ultimately I have to read the cards the way they are. But it almost seems like some of you're just barely out of a relationship, and then the next person immediately shows up and they're like, hey, Cancer, want to go out? And you're like, really? Like it's almost like I didn't even have time to heal from the last one. But the thing about it is, I don't know if you brought the ending or somebody else did with the Ten of Swords, but even if you were the one who decided to leave the relationship, the job, there seems to be a little bit of heavy-heartedness around how you're going to make that work with your new life. Like, I don't know if bittersweet is right. It felt fearful. Like, well, this is all I've ever done, or this is all I've ever known. My identity has been built around this relationship. And now that I sort of feel like it's no longer, what do I do? And then the universe is like, oh, I'll show you what you do. There's very much like divine intervention here, where the minute you start to feel like you have to grieve the loss of something, like something has been taken from you or removed, or maybe you've removed it, but you're having second guesses or doubts, that period of doubt, self-doubt, does not last very long, because you start to see the universe brings you some sort of reward. There's like immediate relief, and I would even argue some sort of healing opportunity that comes on here. Maybe out of the clear blue, but not entirely. So, I mean, obviously be responsible with how you choose to take on this message if it is yours, but I'm not saying quit your job and just assume the universe is going to throw a new one at you the next day, right? That would be great. And to be honest, though, that's almost the vibe I get. But again, this isn't going to resonate for everyone. It's a general reading. It's not going to be anybody's story. But there is something about divine intervention here that saves you from what you anticipate being this huge slump or this huge defeat or this huge disappointment. It's anything but. It's almost like you get rewarded for possibly removing yourself from a dangerous or toxic situation, or something that it just wasn't good for your health, your body, that sort of thing. There is a recognition of getting on some sort of pattern or routine that's more in alignment with your wellness and your daily needs, your daily rhythms. But yeah, it's almost like the sky opens up and it delivers like a little miracle, Cancer. I don't get that message a lot, but that's sort of what this feels like. If you're exiting, it doesn't have to be a long-term relationship, but it was a relationship that really did some damage, even if it was short-term. It felt very karmic. You learned a lot about yourself in the process, but it wasn't necessarily fun or easy lessons. Maybe you learned about your attachment issues or your abandonment issues, or whatever it was. It almost feels like there's a new connection coming in, that it's going to bring you a lot of peace of mind and ease and harmony. And there could be something about this connection promotes healing in the both of you. It's like you guys maybe bond over, I don't know how I feel about this message too, careful how I phrase it, but it's like you guys maybe bond over your shared, not sob stories, but like trauma or things really heavy stuff that you've had to go through. it's safe to talk about it with this person, and they don't come from a place of judgment. They offer their stories too, and it's something you guys, it's like common ground. It's like shared territory where it feels safe to sort of shed light on the shadow and no longer have it be a monster in the closet, or to have it be something that weighs us down. It's like energetically we're able to work through it and release it because of some sort of really beautiful healing connection that comes in. Again, possibly with an Aquarius. It could be someone from a different background, a different religion, a different ethnicity, different country, whatever. It doesn't matter. The Wheel of Fortune says it's a relationship that at minimum it's going to allow you to grow in new ways, because here you weren't growing. You were very stuck. And with the Ten of Swords, it's like there is sort of that thing of needing to recognize where you need to sort of shed the snake skin. It's like you've outgrown something has transpired where it's undoubtedly changed you as a person, and something that your identity and mental energy was very wrapped up in, however you were identifying. When something is removed or pulled away that you've associated yourself with, that your identity has been wrapped up in, that can feel very confusing on how to go from here. But know that this is ushering in a beautiful chapter of healing and connection. You're not doing this alone. The star, again, Aquarian energy for Cancer risings, that almost suggests to me something about, again, the psychological bonding and connection you have with 8th house stuff, but also 11th house where Jupiter has been transiting, like groups, communities, friendships, people that you have strong links to. They're going to help you through this. But it's not just like you as the victim, though. It goes both ways. It's like you guys help each other. You guys help to heal each other. For some of you, if this is leaving a job, you get one that's much more in alignment with what you want to do in the future. Yet this is unexpected, though. It's almost like you can't totally plan for it. There's something rather shocking about it with the Tower and the Star card. What is this ending? Yeah, something that was inhibiting your growth, something that you maybe, for some of you, it's like you almost couldn't see a way out. You couldn't even fathom not having this person in your life, or you couldn't fathom not showing up to this job, or you couldn't fathom not, tending to the needs of your family, even though it was a toxic, abusive relationship. It's something about the devil. It was not healthy. It was toxic. It was inhibiting your growth. It could have even been someone who struggled with addiction issues, or kept you down, kept you in the darkness. That's what I mean. The star is all about healing and being able to shine light on that darkness to understand it in a new way. The shadow wants to be seen too. The shadow wants to be heard too. And so when we start to lean in and listen closer and do sort of that psychological deep dig, we're able to heal ourselves in new and dramatic ways where it almost feels like a second lease on life. Something about this, though, I want to reiterate, is divine intervention. It's like the universe is helping to orchestrate this too. So like, you're not alone. You haven't been forgotten. It's almost like you had to hit rock bottom because you can only go up from here. And I don't do fear-based messages. That's not what this is about. But I mean, Cancer, of the 5 cards we have here, these are pretty heavy cards. Like, look, they're literally black, right? You can kind of see like there's a lot of positivity with the Star and the Wheel of Fortune. And it's not to say these other cards don't have positive qualities, but if you're coming from a chapter or a narrative that has been challenging or dark, please have faith, Wheel of Fortune, that things do get better. They absolutely do. Don't hold on to things out of fear. Allow them to exit your life organically, or even better, have sort of the self-respect and the authority in your own life to release and let go and not hold on to things for dear life out of lack mentality, because you would be surprised. That's sort of what the Tower says. Sometimes when we release things that aren't good for us, but we couldn't possibly imagine life without them, it actually makes unexpected changes and makes room for things that were actually meant to be ours that are so much better. So much better. Capricorn energy too. So again, long-term partnerships may be coming through here. Tell me about the Star. What is this beautiful blessing with the Star? Healing. Something about earth and water, finding better balance between your emotional life, your creativity, your enthusiasm, your soulfulness, with everyday rhythm and practicality of living in like the earthly world, finding better harmony and better balance there. Some of you may choose to become healers, or if it's not just healing you, that might be an interest for you in some capacity. Interesting. So this is like coming out of a very cold place. It's almost like the ground is starting to thaw, if that makes sense, you know. And this is a metaphor, of course, but it's like the cold winter. You can't penetrate the ice. You just kind of have to let things melt. That's almost what this feels like, only someone is helping to bring like this is like a weird way of phrasing it, but someone is like bringing hot water on the snow and it causes it to melt faster. There's divine intervention and like divine healing that happens here. But again, some of you are healers, or you are establishing yourself in a group, a community, neighbors, friendships that really help to support healing that you're doing on yourself. But that may actually have a wider impact than you realize. It may actually, impact a larger group. It's almost like finding your people through, again, common storylines that have been very tricky or challenging. This could even be someone who's involved in like AA, or again like healing through group and community efforts. And small steps along the way really do add up. The Knight of Pentacles could certainly represent an offer to join someone's team or to be in some sort of partnership. But again, it's earthy. It's a little bit slow moving. It's very practical energy. Slow and steady wins the race. All right, Cancer. That's what I got for you. Thanks, guys. Hey, Leo, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. What's coming in for you in the next couple weeks? What's going on with Leo? Let's see. Leo. Messages, movement, making big strides forward, feeling energized, feeling revitalized. To go after whatever it is that brings you the most joy and satisfaction. For some of you, if that has to do with family, parents, children, it's a very good family card. Frequently, though, this is sort of like a future-oriented goal. It's sort of like, that pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, whatever it is that you're motivated to go after, whatever sort of you see as this sort of, fantasy idealized ending. It's actually putting some plan in place to move towards it, to try and achieve it. Maybe you've had to sort of edit or refine your strategy or your plan forward, your map forward, but this to me says you're making strides towards something that's going to make you very, very happy. I love the combination of that. Some of you might be traveling with family. Something to do with education and schooling may be coming through, particularly with your children if you have children. If not, that's just a message that wants to come through. And making wise investments too. Something that you see a lot of value in. You're like, let's do this. So for some of you, this could be relationship oriented. You may be connecting with someone who they add so much value to your life and vice versa. And this almost has like a put a ring on it vibe. And again, that won't mean as much to everyone out there, but it's that idea of like wanting to establish something in the history books or have some sort of reputation or legacy. And it's not just solely individualistic. With the Queen of Pentacles, it's Capricorn, earthy energy. So it's something we have to build towards. It's something we have to work towards. So the thing is, I think you've already started to undertake, what's the better word for that? The undertakings of this big project or this big idea or this big relationship. I think you're already mixing up in it, but it's almost like the more you do it, the more you're reminded how much gratitude you have for this opportunity or this person or this position or this project. And so it further motivates you to go for it. To put yourself out there, to be more expressive with how much this means to you and how it makes you feel, especially regarding possibly an earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. But, the Queen of Pentacles could be you as well, too. Just the idea of what do you value? Great. Let's move towards it and keep sort of basking in sort of the glory and the fun feelings associated with it. I love that. Tell me more about this 10 of Cups. All right, so allowing yourself to release something that you outgrew, or it doesn't need to take up space in your life anymore. It's almost like the frustration of trying so hard with all your willpower to make something work. And so maybe some of you achieve something. Again, maybe this was like, paying off a loan or college debt or having to study for that final exam to get the degree. If that's it, cool. But the 10 of Wands indicates it's the end of a cycle. It's time to put it down because we can't continue on this way. It's not sustainable. It's not possible. So with the 10 of Wands, we've reached a point where we can release something or let it go because, again, we've achieved it. We can check it off the box. Or it's saying that whatever we were hell-bent on pursuing, we've come to the realization it's not even really making me happy. It's not even really, paying my bills, so to say. So maybe I don't need this. Maybe this is a shift in perspective to move away from something that was burdensome and heavy. And it served a purpose in that you found out what wasn't meant for you or what you didn't like, or, you sort of saw a template of how to go about something, but it actually ended up, costing you more in the long run. Or again, it's like being able to see something with clarity now, we know how to approach it differently, or how to choose to not utilize it in its entirety. Again, maybe you're picking pieces and parts from this, but it's a Saturn card. So something in your life recently forced you to really show up and put in a tremendous amount of work. For a lot of you, that work is paying off, or for a lot of you, it's this idea of this doesn't make me happy anymore. So Leo typically, I think, is a very hardworking sign. I don't think you guys necessarily just rest on your laurels or coast on your charm entirely, though you do have lots of charm to spare. But no, I think this is making you analyze where you're putting all your effort and energy, and is it worth it to you? And by worth, yes, value, money, sure, whatever. But for a lot of you, is the feeling there? Does it feel right? What is your intuition telling you to do? So for this 10 of Cups, a lot of you are putting something down once and for all. Going towards what is more sustainable, what is lighter. Yeah, the Hermit really wants me to emphasize, right? The Hermit shines his lantern on where the wisdom is, right? Where we can learn something from the process. On whatever you went through that was very burdensome and hard, it did serve a purpose. And so it's easy for some of you to write this off as a wasted chapter, a waste of money. Why did I go through that? What was the purpose? Almost kind of like an existential, what was the meaning of that? It didn't even matter. All that effort for nothing. The Hermit says, no, that's anything but the truth. There was absolutely something you needed to learn through this process. And I don't mean to sound condescending or to, rub it in your face. I think there's value. I can tell you with the Queen of Pentacles and the Hermit, there's value in recognizing what did you gain from this? And I don't know the specific details of what went down here, but the Hermit is saying, recognize what I'm trying to teach you here so that it's going to make however you choose to go about this 10 of Cups ending or this 10 of Cups chapter that, something you really want and really desire, it makes you happy. What can you extract or take away from this storyline? Because it's going to make this path easier. It's going to offer more ease and balance and harmony. Tell me about this Queen of Pentacles. For some of you, you may be pursuing something educational or studying or wanting to be a teacher, wanting to be a mentor, wanting to guide people. Maybe it's spiritually, maybe it's financially, whatever it is, expanding people's minds. Yeah, again, Sagittarian energy. So we have this full moon in Sagittarius this week. I mean, of course, depending on when you watch this. So for anyone who has placements in the very early degrees of Leo, 1, 2, 3 degrees, or even, I suppose, the late degrees of Cancer, 28, 29 degrees Cancer. Something about this, is that right? Hold on, I got to think about this now. Sagittarius, Virgo. No, that's not really what I meant. I'm going to take that back. But anyway, whoever has placements in very early degrees of Leo. So yeah, I guess the Cancer thing would make sense. That would offer some sort of harmony or trine. In terms of your Leo placements with the Sagittarius energy, which is about growth and expansion and, adventure, immersing yourself in new culture, new languages, new areas of study, be curious, have fun, be adventurous. It's not necessarily about the staying power or the long-term commitment, though I would offer some of you are going to have the best of both worlds. I think you're getting into something that is fun, that does offer long-term potential for sustaining this sort of happy family. Maybe you're part of a job where it's it feels like the work family and you're happy and this and that. Others of you, you're not, and so you're saying goodbye to something that doesn't feel happily ever after. But with Sagittarius energy, it's be curious. There's a huge need to show up and just give it a try, try your hand at it, take a risk, be bold, be courageous, step outside your normal territory or your comfort zone for that matter. All right, Leo, that's what I got for you. Thanks so much. Hello, Virgo, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. What is coming in for my lovely Virgos? What can I share with them? A message or a narrative that's going to come up in the next couple weeks for Virgo, placements in Virgo. Who or what are you committing yourself to? This is a card of marriage, commitment, long-term, setting something in stone. A need to be productive, a need to live a sustainable life. And then the Two of Swords, there could be aversion or opposition to some sort of contract or commitment that someone is wanting to bring you into, or vice versa, something that you're wanting to pursue long term. You may feel a person kind of pulling back their energy or being a little bit cold, or sometimes it can be hot and cold too. It's like, they're open, they're chatty, they're conversational, and then they close back up and it seems like they're very guarded. So what's that about? Let's see for Virgo. Why is that coming through? And we are in Gemini season. By default, that's a fellow Mercury sign where conversation, language, communication, that's very important to both Virgo and Gemini, but they sort of operate on a different level, right? For Gemini, it's a little bit more short. It's a little bit more flighty. It's sort of, just the facts. The mutable energy. I want to be scattered. I want to, not be all in one place. With Virgo, it's an earthy Mercury, right? So there's more staying power. There's more seriousness. I think there's more of a responsibility to finish the task out, or to make sure that we are, properly analyzing it or utilizing it, being useful. That's very important to Virgo. Utilizing the information, doing something, of use with it. So yeah, the reason I'm mentioning that is that conversations might be a little bit weird in the next couple weeks. There might be a difference of opinion, a difference in communication styles, language styles. It's almost like you guys aren't speaking the same language, even though you are. There's like sort of so this is probably happening in romantic partnership or in the life of someone around you who may be having trouble with their spouse, their partner. I suppose you could argue it's a colleague, but this looks very romantic to me. So unless you're sleeping with the boss, Virgo, maybe some of you are, no judgment, whatever. But no, this is very likely happening in a relationship. For some of you who've been with someone who you think of as a long-term partner, you may sort of wanting to be having the conversation of, hey, like, are we going to move in together? Are we going to get married? Are we going to, again, like put something in writing here? Like if you're trying to put a title on it or navigate to sort of figure out where it's headed, your person seems very avoidant to address the issue at hand. I don't know why that is. I don't know if it's a sense of lack of loyalty. I don't know if I sense that per se. I like these cards very much. But yeah, whoever you're dealing with, and again, it might go vice versa if you're cross-watching on a Virgo, right? Someone in the mix is very much like, halt, like cease and desist. I don't want to talk about it right now. Or I don't know, they're just kind of being very private or non-communicative. That being said, it does feel like there's a strong connection here that has grown over the years or could potentially grow over the years. I think there's an undeniable, intense connection, right? With this sun in Scorpio, there's something very psychic. You guys are maybe very in tune sometimes, and you might be going through like a challenging period where it doesn't feel like you're having that same bond or connection. And it's sort of like that, you don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's like, well, we have these memories. We're standing on this solid foundation or platform of all the work we've done together. But at the same time, like, what is this distance in my partner? So let's ask about that. What's the deal with that? And not to say all of you have been together for, 10, 20 years. It doesn't have to be that, but it's something here. It's like it feels almost written, like soulmate energy or something, karmic. Either way, it's important. I'm not saying it's forever. But the Hierophant definitely offers the idea of, hey, let's make the history books together. So what is this aversion? What is this person who maybe, I don't know if they fear commitment, or let's find out what's going on with that. They like it just as it is. This person fears change. I don't think that they want to break up with you or no longer work with you. I think they are very comfortable in what is familiar, and any big change or move scares the living you-know-what out of them. And so they're very much like, I just want to do what we're doing now. I don't want anything to change. And whether this is you or your person, I hate to tell you, but like life is constantly in flux, all right? Like there's no way to avoid change. And obviously this person kind of knows that, but I think they're hoping that you're just going to, I don't know, in a sense, like settle and not want to encourage growth or change in this relationship. And to be honest, like I'm team growth in this relationship, right? I mean, because even if you have to learn through sort of finding your footing again through your first major argument or your first major, what is a good word? I just lost it. It went out of my head. Argument, difference of opinion. That's not always comfortable energy because, again, you have to use that practical, like, okay, well, we need to address this and try and find a common ground. Sometimes that's what this is, too, is a Libra card. It's like your ideas and my ideas, and how can we have them meet in the middle if they are going in opposite directions, right? Rather than remaining in indecision land, something's got to break here, The Four of Pentacles is an okay card. It says that stability has been established here, but it might be stability that isn't built with a good safety net, as if one thing were to come through and shake our stability, we would kind of lose it because we're holding on to things for dear life. And so I guess, maybe you just need to ask yourself that question, like, if a major change were to come through and impact this relationship, do you feel like your person has solid enough footing with you to come to some sort of solution together versus just abandoning it when things get hard? Do you know what I mean? It's like we have to have a backup plan. We have to have a safety net here. And maybe this person doesn't. And maybe I'm speaking to you quite literally in terms of financial worries and financial stress. Maybe this person wants to move in with you or wants to get married, but I don't know, maybe they have self-worth issues because they don't feel they make enough money, right? Like there could be a lot of stuff coming into this, but Temperance, again, balance, moderation, finding the middle ground. I don't see this as an ending. I see this as a need to find a better solution, or to be flexible, to be changeable, to be adaptable, to be mutable, right? I think that's important. We just had that full moon in Sagittarius. So for my Virgo risings, this may be indicating things, let's see, I believe in your fourth house of home, family, land, property, ancestry. It's a watery type house, right? So it's kind of psychological. It's like our inner psychology, our inner feelings, really, but sometimes our private life too. So, maybe, I don't know, maybe it has to do with even like inheritance or something like that, or again, moving in together, right? That seems like, the person you live with, the person you're with in private. There's something here isn't totally balanced, but your person seems kind of avoidant or detached, not wanting to address it. So what is missing is a sword card that essentially is saying, hey, this person is ready to address it, or to address the elephant in the room, or say the thing. Both of you kind of seem to be holding back in your own way, but I mean, it's coming through in your reading, so I can only assume that you're feeling committed to this idea or this next chapter of how you want this to grow and expand. Sagittarius energy it's Jupiter energy, right? So again, it wants to grow and evolve. You can't stay stuck. I mean, not only is that not healthy for a relationship, but it's kind of boring, right? There's a need for this to grow and expand. Again, Sun in Scorpio too. It's not saying we have to throw out everything and abandon this situation, this person, whatever, but there is a need to transform it in order to get it back to a healthy spot where both people are satisfied and able to participate in a way where they feel heard and respected, but also where they can reciprocate and be there for the partner. So this just seems like a narrative this week or the next 2 weeks where your partnerships are in flux. You guys are needing to find a better footing again on something. All right, thanks, Virgo. All right, Libra, what's up? Libra, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. What's coming in for my Libra squad in the next couple weeks? What narrative or story can I share with them? Ooh, an offer. An offer is being made. Something solid, something legit. Ooh, and you're very excited about it. Enthusiastic with the Knight of Wands. It lights your fire. It makes you feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Ooh, it's definitely a commitment of some kind. So if it's job related, excellent. There's money attached to it with the Ace of Pentacles. If not, this could certainly be romantic, very heavy influence on more of like the sexual side of it with Taurian, kind of the body, the Ace of Wands is sometimes the penis card, right? Not that I'm saying it has to involve that, but do you understand what I mean? Like there's something very like sensual and touching of the body if it is romantic. And I would even argue too, for some of you, if it is career related, it may actually have to do with the body or nourishment or touch, physicality. I don't know if you're giving massages or doing something like aesthetic, doing people's hair, their nails, it's like something to do with the body, or I don't know, with Ace of Wands, something kind of, illuminated, something sort of lit, something beautiful, something intriguing, something that it sheds light on something, but it's creative and very visual, very visual. All right. Like the aesthetic is coming through majorly here. I don't know what it is, but I mean, obviously if you're in a relationship with this person, it's like you're highly, highly attracted to them. There's very like strong magnetic chemistry, but highly sexualized too. Get it, Libra? Good for you. It might involve a Taurus. It doesn't have to, but I kind of like this because it's earth and fire, so it's fun and it's exciting, but it's also real. It's not just someone gaslighting you, especially with the Taurian energy that adds even more weight and heaviness to it in a good way. Like it's solid rock. It's granite, right? Do you know what I mean? There's something heavy and legit about it. The Hierophant sometimes is the card of, the one who marries you. So you might sort of be fantasizing about, marrying this person someday. Maybe this is actually talks about the future that's very exciting to you, and someone actually making matter-of-fact plans to, choose a date or to propose to you. Or, I don't know, maybe you're moving in together, making very firm, very solid plans, but it doesn't seem to be about the mundane things in life, like talking to the tax guy or, there's something about it that's a little bit more... Ooh, it's illuminating, but it's exciting. It's funny. It's like heavy and light at the same time because it's of great importance, but you seem very excited about it. Yeah, this is about like your friggin' marriage partner or your soulmate, the person you want to move in with, the person you want to build a life with, the person you want to get into contract with. This is happy. This feels very, very happy. This is a Venus and Aries card. So it's the merging of two. It's people coming together with things in common, things that they equally value and desire and want to put work into and want to move towards. Your cards are just like popping out for me. This may involve a Scorpio. So you definitely have stuff on like Taurus Scorpio axis, which is very sensual, very sexual. It's like the body and the soul merging. Isn't that a Death Cab for Cutie song? Soul meets body. You should go listen to that. There might be something in that for you. Good old Ben Gibbard. Yeah, judgment. All right. So, judgment is like seeing the higher perspective of something, being able to look back on the past and reflect in a way where it doesn't pull you back. It's something about it. It sets you free from your past. And I don't want to go too dark or heavy because I don't get that from this reading at all. But with it showing up next to the death card, it could be that you came from a place of believing that relationships were always going to go a certain way for you and maybe swinging in the more negative of like, oh, I never feel respected enough or I never feel valued or I always meet people, but I don't really have that, sexual chemistry that's just right. This feels like... like hindsight is 20/20 is how I would say with the judgment card. It's like you've met someone where you're so elated and I hate to go so extreme with it, but like it feels so perfect. You can't imagine being with anyone else. Even that person from your past who maybe you had trouble getting over or had trouble coming to terms with the fact that they had moved on or that you had to close the book or close the chapter on something. It's almost like you're feeling rewarded. You're feeling elated by some new partnership. And it's like we can finally let the past be in the past. We can finally put some things to rest. Maybe for some of you, if you've been married a long time, you're renewing your vows. It could be something like that with death. There can be regeneration, an ending and a new beginning. So, maybe this is someone from your past, but if that's the case, there doesn't seem to be a lot of negative energy that is very heavy and weighted. It feels like this beautiful transformation if that's the case. But I think this is a beautiful transformation that's happening in your love life for a lot of you. So love it, Libra. Get it, as I said. All right. Thanks so much, guys. All right. What's up, Scorpio? Let's do it. What narrative is coming in for my Scorpio gang in the next week or so? Scorpio, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. What's going on for Scorpio? Ace of Cups, they love you. Let's hope so. Let's see, what else? What about who's offering this Ace of Cups? Your soulmate. Oh, Scorpio. Someone that you have a solid partnership with or someone that you're desiring a solid partnership with. This is 11/11, divine timing. Feeling very drawn, feeling very connected with someone. It's Venus and Aries. So, Venus is all about connection, partnership, ease, harmony, balance in like a Mars ruled sign like you. So wanting to put energy and action into this partnership, feeling very motivated by this person because they touch you on an emotional level. It feels very soulful, this connection. Ace of Wands, love it. Yeah, so this could be a blending of fire and water. You may be dealing with a Sagittarius for that matter too. I always think of Temperance. The Temperance card is Sagittarian energy. It's blending fire and water, but could certainly be with someone who has strong placements in water and fire. Yeah, they're both equally reaching out. They're headed in the same direction. This feels kismet. This feels delightful. This feels like, dare I say, Scorpio, I've only pulled 3 cards, but it feels like a little bit lighter this week. It doesn't feel so heavy for you. It feels like you're able to go out and socialize and enjoy this person's company. And, maybe some of you are joining a new workplace. Maybe you've joined some new group or community, but it's like you feel very seen and there's there's an ease into how you merge or fit into this group or this coupling, this relationship. This feels really lovely. You might be having achieved some sort of personal goal or accomplishment this week, but even if that's the case, someone else is noticing. Someone else is being like, hey, good job. Good for you. Cool. Tell me a little bit more. What is this lovely connection going on? Knight of Wands, so very passionate. Someone's riding in and like there's a determined energy to make plans happen. Again, something to do with Sagittarius energy. It doesn't have to be, you know, in Wands, fire energy, Aries, Leo, Sag, but it's excited. It's sexually charged, right? It's adventurous. It's action oriented. You know, you guys might do something quite physical together. But actually what I meant by that is more like, hey, like, let's go hike a mountain. Let's go, I don't know, let's go race go-karts. Like there's kind of a lighthearted child fun energy to this. It's very playful. Very playful. But what I love here is that there's like a really serious offer under sort of the guise of what could be written off as silly or just kind of surface level, superficial. I think the more you get to know this person, you really want to invest in them and vice versa. They really want to invest in you. Especially with the King of Pentacles sitting under the Four of Wands here. I frequently look at the Four of Wands as like the four corners of a house, right? We have to establish some stability in order to grow from here. This feels like financial support or financial backing, or if it doesn't have to do with money, the idea of really valuing a relationship and this person's love language is showing up and showing you how much they value you and want to put time and effort into this. For a select few of you, this might be indicating too that you have two suitors. And again, not everybody's story. These are general messages, guys. But I mean, you certainly have kind of earthy energy with the King of Pentacles, possibly fiery energy with the King of Wands. Like there are two aces here. So I'm hoping that this is just easy and like it's two people coming together and kicking ass like power couples. It could be slightly complicated if this Knight of Wands is more like, I don't know if it's complicated for you. I think you may have the best of both worlds. You know, I almost think Knight of Wands can be very like Casanova energy. Like, why have one when you can have many? So if that's not your jam, I would argue, or maybe not argue, I would encourage you to make sure that you're on the same page with whoever it is that you're hanging out with or pursuing. Make sure you guys are wanting the same thing. But maybe that's just it. Maybe you're out dating and you're trying on different people for size and seeing what fits and what looks good. Even if that's the case, you seem to have actually two really good options. I mean, I like the thing is like my Gemini mind, right? I have Mercury and Gemini. I can read this from like 4 different scenarios too. Like I could also see this as like the married one is being a little bit like, you know, looking for something on the side and pursue. So, you know what I mean? Like, I think for most of you, this feels like a new, fresh, happy connection that actually supports you in ways you didn't realize it could. But for a few of you, again, like if you're mixing it up with someone who's already married, which to be honest, I feel like that message has come through for Scorpio a couple times in the last few weeks. I don't see that stopping. I just, you know, I'm not here to judge you, right? I'm a realist. Life happens. Shit happens. Things get messy. But if you're hoping that this person is like going to break it off with their husband or wife, I don't know if I necessarily see that happening. But anyway, that took a whole other turn. So one more card on this Ace of Wands. Lots of messages going back and forth. This person loves to communicate. They love to chat. They love to text you like, good morning, good night, this and that. Oh, okay. So you do have 2 options, Scorpio. Jeez Louise in heaven. All right. You seem to have some sort of advantage for you this week in that I will say multiple people are wanting your attention. I don't think it's stressing you out in the least. Again, I think you're kind of like king on the mountain or queen on the mountain, however you want to say it. You have people hardcore supporting you and like, these are not passive to me. I think the King of Pentacles, especially with the cards surrounding it, knows what it wants. It's not going to do like the slow Taurian, I'm just going to approach it really cautiously. Like, I think this is like very like closer, like a salesman. Like, do you want it or not? Like, it's very forward. It might even be a little bit confronting, but in a way where it's like this person makes you feel so seen that you're like, yeah, I think I do want it. Scorpio. And then, yeah, King of Wands, again, similar to kind of like the Knight of Wands energy. It's fire, it's passionate, it's a little bit more action oriented. It's probably a little bit more vocal, but I don't see anything negative here. I think you're probably going to reach a point where you're going to have to make a decision, but not necessarily. We'll see. You let me know in the comments below, Scorpio. All right. Thanks so much, guys. Hey Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. What's going on for you guys this week, in the next couple weeks? Sagittarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus. What narrative can I share with them? Whoa, did you see that? Kind of like popped out. That was a popper. Queen of Wands, sexy, work hard, play hard, very passionate about life. What is she looking at here? Knight of Pentacles. Sagittarius, do you know what this feels like? I think you're the Queen of Wands, male, female, or whatever you identify as. This feels like someone presented an offer to you, and at the time you weren't able or wanting to accept it, and now you're having second thoughts. Now you're like, wait a minute, come back. But you're not saying that. You're kind of like, ooh, it feels like a missed opportunity. Maybe this has to do with declining a job offer or a romantic proposal of some kind, someone asking you out. Why? Obviously, this isn't everyone's story, so only take if it resonates. Why did Sagittarius say no? Because you were still stuck on some other offer or some other connection. Maybe you thought something else was coming in the pipeline. Maybe it did. Maybe it was good for a while. But Five of Swords says it's cloudy or murky at best. So it's almost like, this feels almost like the Scorpio reading. It's like you have your hands in two pots. Only you, I don't know if that's actually true, though. Maybe I want to rephrase that. It's like, you had multiple connections, and I think you chose to pursue one, which, no regrets. It is what it is. You don't really live your life in regret anyway, right? That's not Sagittarian. You just do it. You just live life. But whatever it is you did choose to invest in, it ended up not resulting the way you had thought, and now you're looking at something else like, damn, should I have done that? Or is it still available to me? Is this person going to come back? Is that job still available? That's what this feels like to me. All right, so let's talk about this offer that Sagittarius either rejected, or maybe you just kept them on red, you kept them on silent, and maybe you didn't pursue it. But I just sort of get this sort of mixed emotion in pursuing it. You don't seem to be super vocal, like, hey, come back. You're kind of like, ooh, what should I do? It's almost like you're psychically trying to call this person back. But so I don't know. To me, it does seem like it's a little bit more complicated because there's a reason why you're not just like calling them up or reapproaching them. I'm thinking maybe you're worried you burned a bridge, or I don't know. Tell me about what's going on between this energy that Sagittarius is looking at kind of remorsefully or regretfully. Ace of Wands. So, there's still excitement, passion, enthusiasm, I think, between the both of you, but it's a little bit more foggy or clouded on their end. And I know some of you are like, no, like, why, that you're not reaching out to this person. Ultimately it's saying, though, what's needed is communication. I don't think you are psychically going to draw them back into your orbit, but let's see. So what was this Knight of Pentacles opportunity for Sagittarius? Was it a romantic prospect? Was it a job? What do we need to know about it? Like, what was the crux of what this thing was offering? The Tower. Okay, so maybe something unexpected or life-altering, life change. Maybe you would really have to rearrange your life in order to pursue something with this person or to take this job. Maybe you would have to uproot yourself and move, something like that. A lightning storm. What's that about? Stormy skies. I don't know. Seven of Wands. It would have required more effort. Maybe, and no offense, right? There's no judgment here, but maybe something with this Venus energy, it was like an easier way out to pursue this, or it's almost like the love language in terms of the immediacy was jiving better with this almost like Aquarian energy versus with like the Virgo energy, if you will. And again, metaphors. I don't mean literally for all of you, but for some of you, maybe that hit the nail on the head. It was sort of like you were presented with two packages, right? And literally, for some of you, Ace of Wands, the penis card. Okay, sorry, moving on. I'm sorry. Here we go. Metaphorically, you were presented with two gifts or packages, as we said. And it's almost like you may have gone with the one that visually was more alluring or exciting. Maybe, in metaphor, it was bigger, it was better, it seemed like it had a lot of bells and whistles. But then when you kind of went in and saw what was in there, it lacked maybe the depth or it went against expectation. I think it was underwhelming, especially with Venus and Aquarius. It can be kind of a sticky love language. People who love with boundaries or who don't always know what they want. They don't know. Sometimes people struggle with love language literally, like receiving love. There could have been something there. Others of you, again, like the Virgo, the one that was tied perfectly, with the straight line wrapping paper, but it was very underwhelming. It was very small, right? You may have overlooked that one or not even considered it, but now in hindsight, you're looking back and I think you're still wondering and intrigued by that. I'm speaking in metaphor. I hope this is resonating with some of you, but I don't know, in order to change or to receive this offer or date this person or be in that job, you knew that you would have had to change behaviors radically or change your ways very drastically. And at the time you were very opposed to that, or vice versa, right? If you're, maybe you're cross-watching on a Sag, right? Whatever. Someone here was very opposed to making any major changes or shifts. In some ways, the Queen of Wands, I get it. There's kind of like a diva mentality. It's like, well, I want to have my cake and eat it too. I want to be with the person I love most and I'm sexually attracted to, but I want them to come to me. So there might be some room to negotiate here, but somebody has to make the first move. And I just have to be honest, the way these cards are speaking to me, this Queen of Wands is going to have to get off her high horse and do a little bit of, which, she can do, the action stuff, but it's almost like it would involve swallowing ego or pride, putting pride aside and being like, hey, I'm sorry, like I didn't respond to you, or I'm sorry that, I had to let you down gently. But I think honestly, Sagittarius, you're a sign of truth and honesty, right? I think you just have to approach this person with absolute blunt truthness, in a warm way. I think you will, because whatever it is that they were offering or the opportunity, I think you're still very interested in it. But with that, there's a little bit of shame or guilt or remorse that like, why didn't you take it in the first place? And I think, this person, I think will very likely understand. I don't know for sure, but you have no reason not to reach out. But I can tell you for sure, this Knight of Pentacles is already moving on because they're assuming that you're not interested. So if you were to reach out and be like, hey, I'm interested, I think they would be shocked and possibly willing to put in more effort with you to try and make something happen. The High Priestess says you already know. You already know what's up. Trust your intuition. Trust your guts. It might involve a water sign, Scorpio, Cancer, Pisces, or again, possibly an Aquarius. All right, that's what I got for you, Sagittarius. Thanks. What's up, Capricorn? Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. All right, let's do it for Capricorn. Who or what's coming in? What storyline or scenario can I share with my Capricorn, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus gang this week for Capricorn? Something with a Leo. Mad sexual tension. Yeah, get it. This feels like if it is romantic for some of you, it's getting more in touch with like the sensual side of your relationship or getting more of that back. There might be more focus on physical touch or sexuality or reinvigorating, relighting the passion, the flame between you guys. If it doesn't have to do with a romantic partner, this almost feels like pursuing some project or hobby, something that gives you a lot of joy and pleasure, and really kind of immersing yourself in that creative energy. It's with the Page of Pentacles, I don't know, something about it to me feels very much like revisiting something with new stamina or a refound excitement. If something kind of got dull or drawn out or just kind of ho-hum every day, doing something but not necessarily being mindful or being present when you're doing the thing, right? Or the hobby, the whatever. It's going in with a little bit more like treating it like something that you really respect and admire and you love. And so there's like, it is kind of, I'll be honest, like it is laced with a lot of sexual energy, but for some of you, again, it's just, it's that Mars stuff that's coming through. So yes, it's what excites you sexually, but it's also that idea of things that you put energy and whatever you're motivated to go towards, you get something out of that, right? So I think it's sort of whatever your goal is, whatever your objective is, it's going at it with verve, with energy, with enthusiasm, right? Versus approaching it as like a task or a hobby or a chore. It's no, like this is going to be awesome. This is going to be, more than glass half full. This is going to be like cup runneth over type vibes, right? Tell me more. Waiting. I think a lot of you, it's like you were waiting to find your momentum or your creativity again. You were waiting to kind of get your groove back. And for some of you, it's like you just have to jump in. A lot of times this card says wait. To me, it's not. It's kind of saying to me, what are you waiting for? Like you literally have a really good opportunity in your hand right now with this Page of Pentacles. It's immediately available to you. It might even talk of partnership or asking for help from someone who, again, you're very close to. It's like it feels like they are a nurturing presence in your life. For a lot of you, it is your spouse or your significant other or your best friend, someone that you have history with. And I don't mean this in the sexual sense, but the person who knows how to like stroke your ego, the person who tells you what you're really good at, and they have no ulterior motive. They have no reason not to shower you with compliments. It's that person who's like, they believe in you, undoubtedly. But they sometimes have to kind of encourage you to see your own beauty, to connect with your own fire and your own sort of blessings that you offer to the world. I don't know, your own sort of gifts. They see them, and I think sometimes you lose sight of them. That's what this feels like. It's like you lost sight of something that could potentially bring you a lot of joy and happiness. Others of you, it's like you and your partner are making plans to travel, and I don't know why this message is coming through the way it is, but it's almost like, don't put it off. You're accountable, you're responsible for all your decisions. But there's something here about, like someday we'll go to Paris, and that's just a random example. Someday we'll go to fill in the blank, and the universe is like, go next week. What are you waiting for? Like, it's there, like, especially if it's to do with finances, right? It's like there's never going to be the perfect time to buy that expensive thing, because it's going to require you to spend money. But it's almost like really leaning into the idea of, what, does it bring me joy? Does it bring me happiness? Let's do it, and we'll figure out the rest later. And I know that that's not typically a message that probably resonates with a lot of Capricorns out there, but that's the message coming through in your reading this week. It's like, go towards what you feel driven to do this week. And Page of Pentacles is like, money isn't of the most importance, right? It's a Page of Pentacles. It's a small amount of money for possibly what could be very big results. If this was an individual video, I would label it sexcation. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe you're going off on some sort of like artist retreat or spiritual retreat. It's like the time is now. Just do it. You're going to be glad that you did. Absolutely. Get your fire back. Getting your passion back. And I don't mean to be insensitive, right? Like, I never know the perspective. Yeah, there it is. I was waiting for that to come out. Or something telling me to approach it more cautiously, because I'm just throwing things at you that feel very like, yeah, do it, duh. But also, there's a reason why you're not doing it. And I was anticipating like the Five of Cups to come out. But, same idea, wounded warrior. For some of you, it's like your partner may be going through a period of time where maybe they're dealing with anxiety or depression, and so they don't have the sex drive. They don't have the stamina. Maybe they're having like, what's a good word for it? Not fertility issues, but do you understand what I mean? Like, there may be some deep-seated stuff going on where it's not easy just to run and jump into bed together and it's all perfect. Maybe your person is extremely stressed out. Maybe they're being overworked, or they're picking up the slack for their partner who had to leave, to take care of their own family and kids and whatever. I don't know. There is something wounded warrior coming in where a lot of you or whoever is involved here doesn't believe that it's just as simple as making the small change or making time to do this thing that will bring them joy or happiness, because there's so many reasons why we can come up with why it's not a good idea or why we shouldn't. It's very naysayer energy. It feels very like Virgo Pisces. Like, you give them one good idea and immediately they have 10 reasons why they can't. That can be very kind of like that self-critical, we need to live in the real world, but missing out on fun adventure and opportunity. I think this is saying go for it as much as you can. And I mean, if you are having a talk with your partner about sexuality or something about intimacy, you might need to approach it a little bit cautiously and gingerly, but you already know that. That wouldn't be surprising to you. If any of you are resonating with this in terms of like wanting to date or be with someone and connect with them, a lot of you may be second guessing, maybe I shouldn't reach out because I know they're going through a tough time, but I do want to see them. I'm really attracted to them. I think the universe said, just throw your hat in the ring. See what happens. Anything else? Anything else we need to know about this for Capricorn? Whoa. Yeah, I think you're going to have to fight for what you want here, but make sure you're putting your energy and time into something that is worth it, because it feels like some of you are overworked or burning the candles at both ends, which is why this message of just like, hey, can you take a break? Can you have some fun? Like, it's so necessary for your mental health. It's like you're not going to actually gain as much progress as you think by overworking yourself. Like, oh, I got another hour in me. But what if you just call it here, and approach it fresh the next day? It's like understanding limitations and your capabilities. yeah, I think that word limitations is important for a Saturn ruled sign. It's like we can't do the Jupiter all the time. We can't always do everything and not have boundaries or limits. But then when you kind of flip the coin and all you live by is limitations, then again, there's like a need for you to kind of explore the more fun, playful, silly side of life, because don't underestimate the value that that's going to bring to your life. All right, thanks, Capricorn. All right, Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. What's coming in for Aquarius in the next couple weeks or so? What narrative or storyline can I share with my Aquarius gang? King of Cups, someone offering a lot of love. I feel like their strategy here, very Scorpio energy. It's like they're scoping you out. They're trying to catch a vibe, but not necessarily vocalizing how they feel. Yeah, they think you are the cat's pajamas, the bee's knees. They envy your freedom or your liberated sense of being. You don't adhere to the stereotypical rules, or there again, not to put you in a box or stereotype you, but there is something very atypical, untraditional, with the Fool, maybe happy-go-lucky, taking a leap of faith. That's how your energy is presenting this week. I don't know if you feel that way, but I don't even think you necessarily realize that this person has eyes for you or is scoping you out. I mean, maybe you do, but you're not putting on a show for anybody but yourself. You're living your authentic truth. And someone here, there's a couple messages. It's interesting. It's like, this person has a lot of feelings for you, but they're going unexpressed. And with that, there's almost resentment or jealousy, because this is a very unusual message. It's almost like they want to be you. They envy your ability to not care what people think or something of the sort. It doesn't have to be exactly that, but I don't necessarily get jealousy in the sense of they're seeking revenge or wish you ill. It's the opposite. It's like they want to be with you, but maybe that they don't feel like they can match your energy or operate at your level. And so it's like they watch you from afar. Maybe they watch you online, and this almost has a sense of like what could have been. Like, I don't know if this is someone who you asked out and then they rejected you, or you dated for a bit and there was a split or a breakup, but it's like this person is very much still aware of the light you shine into the world. And I think they're sort of taken aback by you, but they wish they could be you, or they wish they could be with you. Kind of very heavy message, but not so much on your end. Though feel free to swap the characters here. Sometimes it goes vice versa, especially when cross-watchers start getting in on the reading. So what's going on between these two? What's the deal here? There's confusion of feelings. I also think there was a misinterpretation of this person's feelings. You probably thought they came off as very cold or aloof, and maybe they did, but again, that was your perception of it. They view it very differently. It's almost like they were scared to open up. They were afraid to be vulnerable in front of you, because that puts you in the power position where if you rejected them, it's like that would stay with them for life. Very, very gentle, delicate soul you're dealing with. Very likely someone who has strong Scorpio placements. It doesn't have to be a Scorpio, or even 8th house type stuff. Like there's a psychological upper hand that this person likes to have in relationships, but very rarely finds themselves having. It's almost like when they start to fall in love, they start to give their power away, or start to feel in control, they start to feel controlled by the other person, because it's almost like I'm not saying they're doing it consciously, but it's like they give power to the other person in this relationship, and so they lose sight of themselves, and it makes them very scared of being rejected. This person probably has abandonment issues. They probably have a lot of wounds and scars from a past, maybe a past life, but a past lover, maybe even issues with family, feeling like, family wasn't stable or wasn't grounded or wasn't supportive in the way they need to be. So that is the utmost importance to this person. But yeah, when they fall in love deeply, it's like they lose sight of themselves. And I think that scares them. So in a sense, it's like part of themselves is what scares them. So there is a need to kind of control and hold back. But it's like this person dreams about you. They like watching you. They fantasize what it would be like to be with you. Gosh, I hope this is making sense to some of you. But to be honest, I understand if it isn't, because for a lot of you, this almost feels like a blind spot. Like you don't necessarily even know that this person is still kind of in your orbit. Maybe some of you do, but generally speaking, and I don't mean this that you're dismissing them entirely, but it's not even on your radar. What you're doing right now it's not that idea of like, oh, I'm performing on social media so my ex sees it, you know, like it's not that. It's just you're vibing. You are a light in this person's sky, whether you know it or not. Yeah, there's deep felt emotion here, and a lot of psychological wounds are coming up. This person is in a constant state of reassessment of, can we still go back? You know, that sort of like, is it dead and buried, or is there a chance here for a revival? But the thing is, they're so on the fence. I don't necessarily, it's very stuck energy. I don't see them making a huge change. It's almost like this person glamorizes the idea of totally transforming and totally changes, but they never quite step up to the plate to do it. So it's just like this passive idea of, wouldn't it be nice if? And I, you know, I'm never trying to shame or make anyone feel bad, including the cross watcher, but it's like when we're stuck in assessment mode, eventually we have to make a decision. You know, we either leave the past in the past and say, all right, you know, I interacted with Aquarius. It's so funny. I almost feel like I'm talking to a cross watcher right now, but it's like, okay, like Aquarius came into my life for a reason. Ultimately, the Aquarian energy, it's like they woke me up. They shook me awake. There was like a lightning bolt in my life, and it made me realize, you know, where I'm lacking, where I'm not tending to my own needs, my own care. But with that, you know, maybe it wasn't necessarily that this relationship specifically was meant to be. I don't know. But again, like, take that lightning bolt as a sign, as a major indicator that, yeah, like, you know, earthquake energy, it's meant to shake things up so that you can transform and change and do something, not just stand there and go, wow, that was different. Do you know what I mean? Like, I just want to, whoever I'm speaking to here, it's like, I want to say, do something with this energy, right? And in a sense, there is no going back to the way it used to be, but that's not a bad thing, especially with the cards. You know, it doesn't seem like it's been all sunshine and rainbows for this person. So, if anything, it's like they're striving to create a better life for themselves, but yeah, they're very, they're very stuck in their own way. A lot of fixed energy here. Taurus, Scorpio, Aquarius. So what is this King of Cups ultimately desiring? Do they want a second go around with Aquarius? Or I don't even know if you guys have dated. You've left some sort of impression or some sort of mark on this person, and they're very fixated, but again, they're like a quiet, passive watcher. They're not doing much. What does this person desire? Yeah, Scorpio energy again. I'm not saying it has to be a Scorpio, but they have very strong Scorpionic, like, you know, they have a strong Pluto or something going on here where their life has been just a series of very intense, possibly extreme moments, you know, maybe a crisis junkie. Ultimately, they want a total rehaul. They want a total transformation. I think they want to come in knight in shining armor and have your praise and approval and your attention. I think they want to come in a confident man, a confident woman. And yeah, it's like they fancy themselves some sort of like, you know, Robin Hood figure in their mind. But it's like they never quite live up to their own dream or expectation. Again, like kind of Pisces, Cancer energy coming through here. I think ideally what this person wants is to offer you love. But I think the fear of rejection is so strong that they keep themselves from ever taking that sort of risk. This is kind of heartbreaking, to be honest. Like this, and for a lot of you, it's like you don't even realize the change and impact you had on this person, because I don't even think it's on your radar. So I don't know why it's coming through. Again, this feels like a cross-watcher reading. I'm sorry, Aquarius, if it's not jiving for you this week. I would offer to this person, and maybe you're dealing with another Aquarius, you know, possible, who knows. I would offer, though, that Aquarius and Scorpio, in my humble opinion, I'm one tarot reader of a million here, but I think those are signs that actually have the biggest impact on other zodiac signs, but they don't always realize it themselves. Because again, it's Pluto going up to Uranus, right? So Uranus is the planet of shock and awakening and flashes of genius and insight. Again, it's almost like earthquake energy. It makes you aware of something that you can no longer resist or deny or refuse to see. It's like, no, we're here and we have to do this. Pluto is the same way, though. It's sort of like the stirrings underground, and it's one of my favorite astrologers once related it to the idea of, like, you know, that horror movie, this has a point, I swear, that when a stranger calls, it's like, oh my God, the call is coming from inside the house. So it's almost like the worst enemy is something that's already inside of us, but sometimes we project it. But it's this idea of when we shine light on our own shadow, it actually can be quite empowering. We have the ability to show up in a different way and fight back and, embrace the light in the dark and kind of have that work through. But I would say, if this person does come into your life, they're actually going to have a very significant impact as well. But I sort of get it with these two kind of fixed energies. There's like a shocking element to this relationship, or something very deeply, deeply impactful that it probably triggers you both on some level, of spots where maybe you're apprehensive to actually do kind of the psychological digging and work through trauma. And in a sense, you guys are like a mirror to each other. You hold up the mirror to see sort of the things about yourself that you don't necessarily like, but you learn it through the other person. Like, this relationship feels very karmic. It feels like a catalyst to heal your own wounds. And maybe this was slightly less significant for you than it was for this person. I don't know if this is coming back around. Judgment to the Seven of Pentacles says one, if not both of you still think about it. I think there's a lot of cloudedness and muddied emotion about where the other person stands and if they're still interested. But, where are the swords ultimately? Where's the communication card? Who's actually speaking their truth or reaching out, texting, calling, initiating the conversation? That doesn't seem to be happening. And I mean, again, these are weekly readings, so we can't expect miracles overnight. But I would say this person is probably going through some sort of psychological transformation. Who knows, maybe at the other end of it, they are going to be able to speak more freely and say what it is that they want. And maybe they'll reach out to you. But yeah, it's a fickle energy this week, for sure. It feels heavy. It feels weighted with emotion. And I would say even like emotional pain. But anyway, all right, that's what I got for you this week, Aquarius. Thanks. Hello, Pisces. Sun, Moon, Rising, and Venus signs. Let's do it. What narrative or storyline can I share with Pisces? What's coming in the next couple of weeks for my Pisces gang out there? King of Wands, passion. Someone who's very passionate, maybe very creative. Someone who's a lover of life, a lover of travel and experience. Joyful energy. The world is my oyster, right? The world is my playground, I would say, with the King of Wands. Then you have a card of waiting. All right, so this almost feels like a King of Wands that is planning his or her, fire sign energy. Someone who's planning more strategically how they're going to come into you. And if you strongly resonate, if you're cuspy with Aries, or you strongly resonate with your Sagittarius rising, whatever, maybe this is you, maybe. This also kind of feels like two people who are pouting. Silent treatment is sort of coming through. So I have a feeling this isn't brand new for you, especially if someone's planning how they're going to come back in. I don't know if they're trying to get back into their good graces, or your good graces, like if you've had an argument, having to apologetically and humbly come back, tail between the legs and be like, I'm sorry. This person really struggles with that. It's, fire sign energy can sometimes have trouble apologizing. Sometimes. I would say especially when it's fixed, right? Or, if they apologize, there's sort of like an underhandedness to it. There's kind of like a sorry, but it's not insincere. I'm just sort of getting that here. And maybe this is you. I don't know. What's this? Yeah, it feels like you guys are not in a good place. There was an argument or a fight. What's going on? What is this fighting about? Someone doesn't feel emotionally available anymore. Somebody said something very dismissive of your emotions and how you were feeling. And it felt like they abandoned you. It felt like they left you kind of high and dry. Something about tears is coming through, especially on your end, Pisces. I think it's funny. I almost get the idea or the impression that they hurt you, but you're really hoping that they come back and make this right. Yeah, because I think you saw a lot of potential in the measure happily ever after. I mean, maybe at one point in time they were. Maybe this is someone you have a history with, or, you've dated for many years, or you've been married to. I don't know. Saturn is moving through the sign of Pisces. So especially in terms of everybody out there, our emotional fluidity, it's being tightened up. It's being a little bit, being put through the ringer in order to, I guess, get wisdom, more maturity, just show up in a more mature, responsible way in terms of, again, like our emotional relationships, especially to ourselves, to God, to spirituality, whatever you believe in, right? Even creativity. I think that's very Piscean in nature. Saturn moving through there is forcing us to show up in a different way and, again, get more serious. And it's a constrictive sign, it puts pressure on us. And, from pressure, we become diamonds, essentially. But I think some of you are wondering if this person is going to be a mainstay in your life, or if they've officially taken their kind of exit cue here. I feel very heaviness on your side, because it's like you saw them as as your everything, or you saw them as something that really brought a lot of joy, contributed a lot of joy and happiness. But yeah, it's like trouble in paradise. So what's going on for this King of Wands? Yeah, it's like they're very on the fence. They're very contradictory. They contradict themselves. It's like, I want you, but I can't. I hate you, but I love you. Like, it's that sort of like, you drive me nuts, but I can't imagine not being with you. And there is also a dynamic here of the chaser and the runner. And for most of you, it feels like you're the chaser and this person is the runner. And that may have been a rapport, a dynamic that has long since been established between you guys. And so it's like the other person expects the other person to play their role. You know, this person makes a mess and runs away, and they're like, oh, well, Pisces is going to chase me. And then you're like, oh, my person ran away. I better go let them know that I'm not mad at them and that they need to come back to me. And like, there's a whole dynamic here. I don't mean to be dismissive or rude. It seems tricky. It seems like a slippery slope here with you guys. I would offer right now the dynamic isn't super healthy, but undeniably, this is something that you guys are both meant to learn something from. But it's very easy to project, what they're doing. But I think we gain more insight and wisdom from looking at ourselves and being like, how am I operating in this relationship? And where is it not sustainable? Where is it not healthy for me? Where am I, not implementing good boundaries or guidelines or rules? How am I disrespecting myself in the process of trying to win the approval of other people, et cetera, right? Yeah, I mean, Four of Wands, so this is probably already has been an established relationship at some point in the game. I think the idea of this sometimes outweighs the reality of just how good it is. I think it's like you guys may get a lot of praise and attention from your friends or families. You're so cute together, power couple, you guys are going to have the cutest kids, or even if you could be co-workers or something. It's like people really envy and admire your collaboration, and you get a lot of praise and attention and recognition via this person and how you guys engage together. But it's like, what goes on behind closed doors is it's not all sunshine and rainbows. And I think there's a heavy-heartedness where you're starting to see that. It's like the power couple is having a falling out. Your best wisdom or advice here, I would say, is to listen to your intuition. This card always says to me, your spirit guides, whatever you believe in as a higher power, God, source, spirit, universe, they are trying to communicate with you and send you signs. This very much feels like the universe is trying to coach you and give you some gems, some pearls of wisdom. So, I mean, you're already showing up to a tarot reading, right? That's good. You're doing something for yourself. But remove sort of the middleman of me being the tarot reader and go into meditation or prayer, however you connect with a higher spirit. Get your own tarot cards. Like, there's something, it's very, I'm hearing the word visceral, but that makes sense to me. Like, it's a feeling that you're going to get when you connect to something of a higher power. That's what's going to help guide you towards some sort of solution here. For some of you, maybe it's absence makes the heart grow fonder, maybe pushing pause or having a small break. Maybe that will help here, but I'm almost wanting to say you guys maybe have to go at this in a different way. So if this person always is the runner and you're the chaser, I think you need to stop yourself when you start to chase and really be like, you know what? The right person will respect me enough to admit fault and come back and apologize if that's truly warranted. Again, like we kind of have to strip away the ego here of who's right and who's wrong. It's like, if this is truly a loving relationship and you guys have equal amounts of respect and a desire to build and grow from this, there is kind of like this moody, pouty, playing hard to get, like both people are participating in it a little bit, but I see you wishing and desiring, praying, that your person comes back. So can we get a sneak peek, like this King of Wands, what is he or she going to do? What is the King of Wands going to do? They're tending to their own needs. And I'm not necessarily saying they're being selfish, but they have a Leo card, and I'm saying, what are they going to do? They're going to keep doing the Leo thing. So whatever they're currently doing, which has their back to you, not facing the emotional truth, not communicating, again, these are weekly readings, but they're kind of doing that right now. So I don't see huge changes here, but take this week as a time to reflect, to take a break, to, again, connect with the divine, to feel things through your intuition and get better guidance on how you want to proceed forward in the coming weeks with this. All right. Thanks, Pisces.